And just say a quick welcome to everybody for our 10-minute FM lessons. And today Jim Myers is going to talk, so I'm going to turn it over to him to get things going.
Okay, well, good afternoon and welcome everyone. My name is Jim Myers. The topic today is water management, and a little bit about my background. I won't give you the full bio, but I spent my entire career on facilities management, energy, and utility infrastructure. And actually, my first work after graduating with a bachelor's degree was in water treatment. So it's an appropriate topic, and it was mostly municipal kinds of water. But throughout my career, I got into more of the HVAC and kind of treatment and all sorts of things in facilities water systems. So it served me well throughout my career. So we'll start out here with what's FM's role in relationship to utility management. Obviously, cost savings is one big thing. So in a facility budget, the biggest thing is usually people cost, right? Your personnel cost. But non-people cost, the biggest cost is usually energy. But water is right up there behind it. It can be very significant, whether you're on a municipal system and pay for your water in a bill, or whether you have your own water system from wells. It still has to be treated. There's still costs related to pumping and treatment and distribution and maintenance. So whatever kinds of system you have, there are significant costs to water. And water is a precious commodity, becoming more and more precious each day. That also relates to environmental stewardship. And of course, there are lots of regulations relative to water and its safety. On the right-hand side of this slide, you see this triangle. And if we look at the bottom, kind of the base there, we see that we can talk about water relative to individual components in various systems, but eventually that works its way up to the organization. And like many of the systems in FM, the safety, reliability, and efficiency of the entire organization will depend on some of these utility systems, such as water. Just a little reminder that I like to give whenever I'm talking about any utilities are the quantities, right? So water, we talk about in gallons, or we may talk about them in CF or CCF, which would be cubic feet or 100 cubic feet. So if you're dealing with a water system within your facility where you're pumping, for example, that is usually rated in gallons, or the rate of flow would be gallons per minute, or tanks or whatever could be in gallons. You will see cubic feet or 100 cubic feet often on bills and billing. And that would be the rates for that often, or CCF per month on your bill. Okay. Not enough time to talk about natural gas and electricity today. So that's for another day. Water use in your facility is dependent on these things. So obviously, the type of facility you have, we were talking earlier about the organization that has group homes and residential facilities. Boy, the kinds of water use there and the quantities of the water use there and the profiles of that use are very different than, say, an office building, right? So the location of a facility can have a big effect geographically. And obviously the design of the building, the facility use and size is somewhat related to the type of building as well. But all these things can drastically impact how you're using the water. And we'll see that a little bit coming up. So here are kind of the major components of water systems. So heating and cooling systems, which we don't often think of, we think of turning on the tap and that is the biggest use of water. but heating and cooling systems can have significant impact on water use of a facility. And, when we talk about, again, the type of facility, the location of the facility, there are obviously different types of heating and cooling systems in different parts of the country. The southern area, and in some cases, northern climates now, the HVAC systems are dominated by the cooling systems. All right. So I'll talk just a little bit more about that. Domestic plumbing is the thing we think about most. And then site use. Again, this can vary drastically based on the kind of location you have, but it lists here things like irrigation and things in your daily operation. Other uses, again, residential kinds of facilities, whether it's a hospital or a prison, is going to have kitchen and laundry, which can have significant water uses. Educational buildings with residences, and then if you have a manufacturing facility, you have processed water, which can be, in some kinds of manufacturing processes, the dominant kind of use. And then refrigeration, which I'm going to mention also. Well, I'll just mention it now that certain kinds of systems actually use quite significant amounts of water. For example, people don't think about ice makers, but ice makers in hotels often have once through water cooling to cool their coils, and they're huge hogs of water. And so there are some systems that you can really look at to see, are there opportunity to save water in some refrigeration systems. So just real briefly, the cooling towers in chilled water systems, you lose water from evaporation and blow down and make up water, as it says. But another really important aspect is the water treatment in cooling systems. So you have to treat that water to prevent, as it says, corrosion, scale, and biofouling. And obviously beyond the scope of today, but there is significant attention needs to really be paid to proper water treatment in cooling systems, because as with heating systems, which is the next slide, it can really affect the efficiency of the unit, which then affects your energy costs as well. But it also affects the amount of water use. In boilers, you see some of the similar things, scale and corrosion, but then dissolved solids. Actually, the type of water treatment that is used for boilers is very different. Even though it looks like your objectives are the same, it's very different than cooling systems. The environment's different within a boiler system than a cooling system. That's sufficient for today. Domestic plumbing, again, is the thing that we think of most often. There are a lot of products in the market today to reduce water flow. I know that I had a bathroom redone a couple of years ago and got a new shower head. And, at first it took me a little while to get used to it because the flow in both the shower head and the faucet in the sink didn't have the same flow coming out of it. Why? Because of regulations relative to maximum flow. They have to be low flow kinds of units at this point, fixtures. And then the last major thing I want to talk about is a water management plan. By the way, down on the left, you see this Pro FM, where I've had the slides that have that little Pro FM logo. These slides originated from the Pro FM Institute, which got that because Alana and I co-teach Pro FM certification class. And so some of this content came from there, although in some cases I've modified it to fit our topic more closely. But this is what Pro FM suggests as a water management plan, and it gives you detailed steps of 7 steps here. And we won't go through all of them, but you can see, some things are like gain commitment, organizationally, get commitment that we're going to do this. I want to talk a little bit more about the audit and the creation of an action plan. So an audit starts with just looking at your bill closely. So this is an example or a sample of a bill. And in this case, in addition to the water charges, are wastewater charges and other charges. So sometimes the cost of your water isn't just the cost of your water. Your water bill, a municipal water bill, can include sewer charges and other related water kinds of charges. So here you see fire service, stormwater, and other things. But tracking these on a monthly basis and then putting them in some kind of tracking software, whether that's your own Excel spreadsheet or a computerized maintenance management system, is a start to tracking your water use. But then conducting a water audit goes further than that. It starts with the bill, but then it starts to break down your systems within your facilities. If you have some sub-metering on your own to show where the water's going, or you have ways to determine where the water's going, not just it's coming to my facility. And that's the second bullet: break down the major areas, determine exactly where, how, and when the water is used. From that, you can really begin to create an action plan, because you see where perhaps there is waste, and you can identify potential projects and then create a business plan to address improvements. So there's the process for an action plan. And finally, back to the water management plan. You can see we talked briefly about the audit process, creating the action plan, implementing, evaluating progress. And the one thing that me having an engineering background that I sometimes forget to do is celebrate success. Okay, so if you are able to implement this and you're successful, celebrate your success, because the next time you go to do another kind of initiative, whether it's in water or some other system, you'll be able to more easily get buy-in. So there's my 10 minutes on water management in 12 minutes. Thank you all. Any questions?
Thanks, Jim. Any questions or comments? You know, I was in the car earlier today and happened to win a piece on water insecurity, not just domestically, internationally, but also really focusing on domestic. And you know, we got our work cut out for us when it comes to water management and treatment. You know, it's I feel like it's been the next big thing for a while. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing that or starting to talk about it more, but I think that, you know, we all focused on electricity and sustainability, but water's here and we should be focused on it.
Mm-hmm. And there you see the coming up 10-minute FM lessons. Next week, Alana will be doing the ABCs of space management. Then I'm going to be talking about something I alluded to earlier, creating a business case. And then December 6th, FM building and technology, back to Alana. We'll have a little break for the holidays and start back in January.
So thanks everybody for joining us. And I won't be next week because next week's Thanksgiving. So enjoy your Thanksgiving holidays. And we will be back in December already for everybody. So Jim, thank you. That was awesome. Really appreciate all of you dialing in and joining us. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Hey.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yes.